Hello, Humus Heritage family. Welcome back to the channel where we celebrate the living foundation beneath our feet. If you've been struggling to maintain consistent harvests throughout the year, or if your garden seems to peak in one season only to falter in another, you're not alone. The truth is, most gardeners approach soil preparation with a single annual treatment, expecting it to carry their plants through 12 months of drastically different conditions. That approach might work for mere survival, but if you're after thriving, abundant growth year-round, it's time to embrace a different philosophy: seasonal soil preparation tailored to the specific demands of each quarter of the year. The idea that you can amend your soil once and forget it until next year is perhaps the most persistent myth in gardening. Soil is not a static medium, it's a dynamic, breathing ecosystem teeming with billions of microorganisms that respond to temperature changes, moisture levels, and the decomposition rates of organic matter. What works brilliantly in the cool, moist conditions of spring becomes inadequate during summer's heat stress or autumn's transition period. Understanding that your soil's microbial community has seasonal rhythms, just like your plants, is the first step toward unlocking truly transformative results. When you align your amendment strategy with these natural cycles, you're not just feeding plants, you're orchestrating an underground symphony of biological activity that sustains continuous, resilient growth regardless of what the weather throws at you. As temperatures drop and plant growth slows, your winter soil strategy shifts dramatically from active feeding to protection and preparation. This is when high-carbon materials become your greatest allies. Thick layers of wood chips, straw, or shredded leaves serve multiple critical functions during the cold months. They insulate the soil surface, moderating temperature fluctuations that can harm beneficial organisms and damage plant roots through repeated freeze-thaw cycles. These carbon-rich mulches also prevent winter rains from compacting bare soil or leaching away nutrients you've worked hard to build up during the previous seasons. But there's something even more important happening beneath that protective blanket. During winter dormancy, you're practicing the principle of feeding the soil rather than feeding plants directly. Those slow-to-decompose carbon materials provide a steady food source for fungal networks and other decomposers that remain active even in cold conditions. As these materials gradually break down over months, they're building the humus-rich foundation that will support explosive spring growth. Think of winter amendments as a long-term investment account. You're not making withdrawals now, but you're ensuring substantial returns when growing season arrives. Avoid nitrogen-heavy amendments during this period, as they'll simply leach away before plants can use them, and focus instead on creating that insulating, carbon-rich layer that will mature into beautiful organic matter by spring. When soil temperatures begin rising and life returns to your garden beds, everything changes. Spring is the season of rapid cell division, explosive leaf growth, and vigorous root development, all processes that demand readily available nitrogen. This is when you transition from winter's patient, carbon building to active, nitrogen-rich feeding. Well-aged compost becomes your foundation amendment, providing not just nitrogen but a full spectrum of nutrients and beneficial microbes awakening from their cold weather dormancy. For gardens with particularly heavy spring demands, supplementing with aged manure or carefully applied blood meal delivers that immediate nitrogen boost that transforms pale, struggling seedlings into deep green powerhouses. The key during spring preparation is gentle incorporation rather than aggressive tilling. Your soil's microbial networks and fungal highways have been quietly establishing themselves all winter, and destroying them with deep cultivation sets back your soil health by months. Instead, work your nitrogen-rich amendments into just the top few inches of soil, or better yet, apply them as a top dressing and allow earthworms and moisture to carry them downward naturally. This approach preserves soil structure, protects those vital underground ecosystems, and delivers nutrients precisely where young roots are actively foraging. Spring is also your moment to address any pH imbalances discovered through fall testing. Applying lime for acidic soils or sulfur for alkaline conditions now gives these slow-acting amendments time to work before peak growing season hits. Summer presents perhaps the most challenging conditions for maintaining soil vitality. High temperatures accelerate microbial activity and organic matter decomposition, while heat-stressed plants become nutrient gluttons, pulling resources from soil faster than traditional amendments can replenish them. Simultaneously, moisture evaporates rapidly, creating conditions where nutrients become locked up and unavailable even when physically present in the soil. Your summer amendment strategy must address all these challenges simultaneously: water retention, continuous nutrient availability, and sustained microbial health despite harsh conditions. This is where worm castings shine as a summer amendment, providing slow-release nutrients in a form that remains available even under stress conditions. Fresh layers of organic mulch around plants serve double duty, conserving precious moisture while gradually breaking down to feed the system. Liquid feeding becomes particularly valuable during summer's peak demands. Compost tea or other biological inoculants deliver both nutrients and beneficial microorganisms directly to root zones, without requiring the energy expenditure of breaking down solid organic matter. For gardeners with space, summer cover crops planted in beds rotating out of production can actually build soil during the hottest months, their deep roots mining nutrients from lower soil horizons while their canopy shades and cools the soil surface. The summer strategy is about maintaining momentum, keeping that biological engine running smoothly despite conditions that naturally want to slow everything down. As days shorten and temperatures moderate, autumn presents your best opportunity to replenish what summer depleted and set the stage for next year's success. This is when long-term soil building takes center stage. Fall-planted cover crops like crimson clover, hairy vetch, or cereal, rye, establish before winter, then spend the cold months slowly fixing atmospheric nitrogen or protecting bare soil with their root systems. When incorporated in early spring, these crops deliver a massive nutrient boost, exactly when plants need it most, essentially creating free fertilizer from thin air and sunlight. Autumn is also ideal for applying slow-release amendments that need months to become fully available. Bone meal for phosphorus, kelp, meal for trace minerals, and rock dusts for long-term mineral replenishment. These materials break down gradually through winter's freeze-thaw cycles and spring's microbial awakening, becoming available precisely as the new growing season demands them. Generous applications of finished compost or aged manure in fall have all winter to integrate into your soil structure, improving aggregation and water-holding capacity before spring's first seeds go in the ground. The autumn amendment philosophy is about patience and preparation. You're building the foundation for next year's abundance while simultaneously healing any depletion or imbalances created by the current season's intensive production. Understanding these seasonal rhythms and tailoring your soil amendments accordingly transforms gardening from a constant struggle against nature's cycles into a partnership with them. When you work with seasonal patterns rather than against them, every amendment becomes more effective, every plant more resilient, and every harvest more abundant. Your soil becomes not just a growing medium but a living system that sustains itself and improves year after year. If you found this guide valuable, make sure to subscribe to Humus Heritage and share this with fellow gardeners who are ready to move beyond basic soil management and into truly regenerative practices. Leave a comment sharing which seasonal amendment strategy you're most excited to implement. No sting I'd love to hear about your experiences and answer any questions. Until next time, keep building that living soil.